Hello, today we will go to faraway Seychelles to get to know more about an unusual nut, the weight of which can reach 45 kilograms. This nut is called Seychelles or sea nuts. In the West it is called coco de mer. It grows on a Seychelles palm tree with a height of 12-story building. It's about 112 feet. The giant palm tree has a width of sheet, like 2 double beds, almost 15 feet, and its length, like an unfolded wallpaper roll, almost 33 feet. This nut is incredibly rare because this palm tree grows only on 3 Seychelles islands. On Praslin, there are several palm trees on the island of Curios and 1 tree in the botanical garden of Mahé, and nowhere else. Plant these palm trees in other places, it doesn't work. The palm tree doesn't want to grow anywhere else. The Seychelles are located in the middle of the Indian Ocean. The archipelago consists of 115 islands, and in only 2 this rare nut grows from them. The history of this nut is very interesting. Several centuries ago, before the Seychelles were settled, the fruits of this palm tree were thrown up on the distant shores of other countries. One of them was the Maldives. People thought it was strange that this nut did not fit any of the trees who grew up on the island. Large fruits were collected on the beaches of the Maldives and sold to other countries. Due to its unusual shape and size, the nut was considered as a very valuable commodity with powerful aphrodisiacs. Sometimes sailors reported seeing these fruits floating next to their boats, but no one knew exactly where they grew up. Many sailors have seen these nuts float up from bottom. Hence the mythology that they grow on underwater trees in the forest at the bottom of the Indian Ocean. This gave rise to its common today's name, coco de mer or sea coconut. In addition, since for the first time these fruits were found in the Maldives, they were called Maldivian coconuts, which is reflected in the current name Lodoicea maldivica. Once upon a time, the king of the Maldives announced that only he can own them. If someone found a nut, he had to immediately report this to the king. Otherwise, he could cut off their hands or kill. In fact, when the fruit of the Seychelles palm tree falls in the sea, he cannot rise up because of his huge weight and density. Instead, he descends to bottom. After a long time spent on seabed, the husk falls off. The inside of the fetus begins to rot, and the gases that form inside nut make it buoyant, as a result of which it rises on the surface of the sea and begins to drift with the current. For a long time, the Seychelles were uninhabited, until in 1768 the French explorer of the East Indies, Captain Dufresne, set foot on the islands and found out the true origin of the nut. In 1881, when British Army Major General Charles George Gordon landed on Praslin Island, he was convinced he had found the biblical Garden of Eden. A truly believing Briton, seeing the shape of the coco de mer fruit, took root in the opinion that this is the same forbidden fruit that Eve offered Adam. The Seychelles authorities keep a meticulous and constant record of each tree. This fruit became a symbol of the island nation many years ago. He was even depicted on stamps that are used to stamp passports. Given the limited population, the Seychelles symbol is quite expensive. The Valley de Mai Tourist Center souvenir shop sells certified coco de mer nuts, but they are not always available, because more than 400,000 tourists from all over the world visit the Seychelles a year. There are souvenir shops on the islands that can also sell nuts. The price of a walnut can range from 200 to 600 euros and depends on the shape and size. Nuts can only be bought with an official certificate. About 70 fruits can be harvested from one palm tree. Plant caregivers come to work wearing special protective helmets, as falling fruit can cause serious injury and even kill. They are said to fall most often at night. Many places have signs warning of the danger of falling nuts. The only official plantation of sea coconut is located in the Valley de Mai, has approximately 4,000 trees and occupies 20 hectares. During the year, only 3,000 nuts are harvested here. As a result, each of them receives a special mark and a serial number. Part of the fruit is taken for seeds, and the rest is sent for processing. Seychelles nuts have gained incredible popularity because of their unusual shape. The halves of the fetus merge with each other and resemble, on the one hand, the female buttocks, on the other, the naked tummy and hips. Sometimes the nut may have a tuft of hair, which creates an even greater illusion. The erotic look has become the object of universal admiration. On the island of Praslin, the image of a nut can be found everywhere. There are many tablets telling about the history of the nut. There is a fountain in the form of a nut. Even public toilets are equipped with nut symbols. This is a men's cubicle, this is a disabled cubicle, and this one is for women. Unlike the common coconut tree, the coco de mer has male and female trees. A nut in the shape of a woman's buttocks gives a woman's tree, and a man's tree has inflorescences that closely resemble the male's sexual organ. Male inflorescences grow 1 or 2 meters long. The flowers open unevenly, so the male tree blooms for 8-10 years. Next to the ripening fruit, male fruits grow. They can be seen by gender. If you look at a man's earring closer, you can see small spots. This is where the flowers bloom. This is the inflorescence. The flowers are small and bright yellow. The earring itself is purple. Therefore, the view is shocking. The female flowers look like small cabbages. Botanists have not been able to figure out exactly how the process of pollination takes place. Perhaps these small green geckos, constantly running along the trunk of a palm tree, are related to pollination. They can carry pollen from flowers. Very strong winds blow in the Seychelles. It seems that for such a heavy tree with many nuts, they can be dangerous. Of course, the wind can knock down unripe nuts, but the tree has protection. The trunk of a palm tree is attached to the ground with a cup-like structure. Hundreds of tiny roots connect to this bowl. This allows it to act as a hinge joint. Thanks to this fastening, the tree can bend under the influence of the wind and not get damaged. The parent tree plays a huge role in the growth of sprouts. In nature, plant seeds are dispersed by water, wind, or animals. But the fruits of the Seychelles are so heavy that no animal can bear them. They drown in seawater and cannot migrate to other islands. Therefore, new palm trees sprout not far from the parent. The leaves of the parent tree send water and nutrients to the roots. In addition, they save from the scorching sun and eliminate competition from other plants. So, falling from time to time, one next to the other, they make a cycle and gradually expand their habitat. The trunk that grows from a nut acts as a kind of umbilical cord and provides a new tree with nutrients during the first 2 years of its life. This is how a young tree grows, and below you can see a nut. If you want to grow a Seychelles nut in your backyard, then I must say this is an incredibly difficult business. A planted palm seed weighing about 20 kilograms will sprout only after a year. The palm tree will begin to bear fruit in 25 years. The fruit will mature in 7-10 years and can weigh between 10 and 25 kilograms. To obtain fruits, you need 2 trees, male and female, otherwise there will be no fruit. And to determine the sex of a tree, it will take from 11 to 45 years. Thus, to increase the chances of getting both sexes, you need several trees. In 200 years, a palm tree will grow 10 meters. Seychelles nuts are under strict protection. The nut fully matures after 7 years and its flesh is firm. Unripe fruits have a jelly-like pulp and are ideal for eating. This is usually a 9-month-old nut. At this time, it has the best taste and texture. A nut aged 5 months has no taste. In the last century, roofing for huts was made from palm leaves and the shell was used as dishes. But now it is forbidden for local residents to use neither leaves nor shells. Tourists rarely manage to taste the pulp of a nut, so in 2014, the Seychelles hosted a culinary and artistic fiesta dedicated to coco de mer. It was a rare opportunity for tourists to taste the nut kernel. The nut, however, was only available mixed with other products, not on its own. Those who tasted the fruit were happy, but noted that its taste was overshadowed by the ingredients. This event was met with a lot of criticism, and a petition was initiated to stop the festivals in the future. The only thing you can try is the coco de mer liqueur, which is made from the core of the nut. The bottle is shaped like a sea nut. The liqueur itself is similar to coconut milk, and the taste is reminiscent of Irish cream liqueur Baileys. Walking around the island of Praslin, it is easy to forget how rare this mythical tree is. Even outside the reserve, you can see how they grow right under the open sky. However, the nut is listed in the Red Book as an endangered species since only 8,000 mature trees remain, and this number is declining. The number of trees over the past 30 years has decreased by 30%. Most of the trees in the Valley des Mai are still very young and have not yet reached their fruiting stage, and since trees only exist on 2 islands, they are extremely vulnerable. These trees survived millions of years ago due to their isolation. But when in contact with people, there are many threats. In 1990, a forest fire destroyed a huge population of these trees on the palm plantation of the Ferdinand Foundation in the south of Praslin. A large number of tourists negatively affects the trees. The constant flow of people causes plant diseases, new insect pests appear. Foolishly, tourists damage trees, causing irreparable damage. Since the Seychelles is a symbol of the country, poachers steal the fruit to sell to foreigners. But an even greater danger is not curious travelers, but various impotents who hope that the nut kernel will help them stimulate sexual desire. Because the trees are very tall and the nuts are difficult to reach, poachers cut down entire trees to gain access to the fruit. Today the government has a list of all existing trees. Even if a palm tree grows on private property, anywhere on the islands, it is still subject to accounting. Thus, you will not be able to buy a nut from a private individual. You can only buy nutshells in the gift shop. A special stamp is glued on it, which allows you to take the nut out of the island. If you try to take out a nut without permission, then at the airport you can get a huge fine, or even be arrested altogether. If earlier the fine was $387, then under the new rules, the fine can range to $38,670. The sale of nuts brings the country hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. I suggest you watch our video on how divine dates are grown, harvested, and exported around the world. From this video you will learn a lot of interesting and unknown things. This video is on the right. And that's all for today. Peace and blessings to your home. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, and write your opinion in the comments. Bye.